Chapter 12. The 14th of July 2009, 1 p.m. Durgapur, West Bengal.
I completed my training at Jahan Khelan. I was an assistant to Sir Monty Chimar in 4 other cases. Because of my excellence and keen observation skills, I was directly assigned as a coordinator on this sensitive case with you.
Ryan boasted. You are lucky for having been promoted so soon, Savitoj stated sarcastically, but Ryan took it as a compliment. Savitoj diverted his attention outside the window to avoid further conversation. They had been traveling for almost 5 hours without a halt. Neither of them wanted to add unwanted hours to their journey since the destination was still hours away. Savitoj took out his neck brace as it had started to irritate him. The bright sun that seemed pleasant in the morning had started scorching their skin by afternoon. They stopped at a dhaba near the highway for lunch. Chiranjeet excited first and ran towards the main counter. He inquired about something at the counter and returned quickly. Sir, they do serve Punjabi food here, but the place looks a bit unclean. It was an open restaurant. Savitoj tilted his head sideways to get a better view of the place. The cook was cleaning his face with a red and white checkered napkin. He then used the same piece of cloth as a mitten to hold a kadhi while stirring the food. Literally, uski kan paseen ki manat hai, Savitoj said with an exasperated face. He turned to look around in the hope of finding other restaurants but found that this was the only one open. Chuck it. I am fucking starving. We can't afford to waste time in finding another restaurant. Savitoj excited the car and Ryan followed. His stomach was growling louder than his seniors. They all took a seat at a corner table. A waiter arrived with a pleasant smile. He understood a little Hindi as travelers from other parts of the country were his regular customers. Savitoj ordered himself butter chicken and naan, and Ryan and Chiranjeet planned to share a boneless chicken handi and roti. The food arrived soon. Ryan straight away went for the first bite without practicing the courtesy of waiting for his senior. The churning in his stomach finally stopped after the first bite. Chiranjeet joined in. This is the first time I am eating Punjabi food. It's a bit spicy, Chiranjeet said. Even though the manner of cooking did not follow the general rules of cleanliness, the taste was incredible.
Don't worry, it's all for good. Punjabis are known for their food, their brave army ventures, and the 5Ks.
Ryan started speaking, a little butter dripping off his lip. 5Ks? Chiranjeet asked.
Yeah, Kesh, we tend to have long uncut hair. Kangha, the comb required to maintain the long hair. Kachera, Punjabi for boxer underpants. Kirpan, a sort of dagger, also known as cutter, and kara, a metal bracelet like this one,
Ryan said, flashing a kara on the right hand. I don't see anything else on your body other than the kara. Chiranjeet giggled.
It's not compulsory. I mean it is, but it's okay, I guess,
said Ryan as he tried to avoid the embarrassment. Pampered a lot by his parents, he lacked the knowledge of basics on culture and religion. Savitoj stole a glance at them. None of the things reflected on him either. He was a Punjabi but not a Sikh. Explaining it to someone belonging outside the state was a little difficult and time-consuming. Avoiding it seemed perfect to hungry Savitoj.
Kara is something my mom insisted I wear. And I love it,
Ryan continued, though it wasn't expected. He made a closing statement. Savitoj was halfway through his food when he turned to his left and noticed a man, old and shriveled, continuously staring at him. The man had noticeable grey hair. His chest, long beard and wide-open eyes were way too frightening for any observer. He was sitting beside the road, not very much worried about the blazing sunshine falling on his aged body. Hardly any part of his body was covered with clothes. Savitoj didn't pay much attention to him. Ryan pushed his chair back, got up, and went to wash his hands. Savitoj told the waiter to pack the leftovers when he was done with the food. I will wait by the car, Chiranjeet said. He wiped his lips quickly and went ahead. Ryan and Savitoj followed him. As they were leaving, Savitoj stopped to give the leftovers to the old man. The obvious guess was that the man might be hungry and was staring at him with the hope of scoring free food. But when Savitoj stretched his hand, the old man grabbed him by his forearm and pulled Savitoj closer.
Don't try to mess with the Stesana. You don't know what you are dealing with.
The old man spoke with one of the heaviest voices Savitoj had ever heard. Savitoj didn't respond. In utter shock, he tried to figure out the situation. Savitoj had seen those turquoise eyes somewhere before. How does the old man know about the case? Savitoj wondered, but after a slow blink, he diverted his attention towards freeing his arm from the man's tight grip. The man didn't leave Savitoj but rather continued threatening him.
42 years ago, it took birth. Nari was its first prey. She was ruthlessly killed. It attacked her entirely and didn't even let her spirit escape. Within days, an employee claimed to have seen the wandering spirit. He was also a brave man like you. A week later, he was sacrificed to IT. IT is hungry and asks for Kadia from time to time. Don't try to stop IT. Go home while there is still time. Do not return. You realize it too late, and now you will try to scamper out of the way. You will face the same horrors the cadet did.
Ryan was well seated in the car by now and was ready to fall asleep. With his tummy protruding a bit, he dozed off instantly. When he turned around, the sight of his senior still speaking to the old guy caught his attention. He saw the man holding Savitoj's hand firmly. He quickly opened the door and rushed to rescue his senior. Leave my hand. I am a cop.
Leave my hand. I am a cop.
The old man mocked in a ridiculing light tone. His voice was still heavier than Savitoj's.
I fear nothing, but still drop dead at the sight of IT.
The mocking continued. Do you know what are the charges for threatening an officer on duty? You old jerk. Savitoj started growling in anger. It had absolutely no effect on the stronger old man. Much more powerful than Savitoj, he continued staring directly into Savitoj's eyes. With no other option left, Savitoj took out his handgun and pointed it towards the man's forehead. Many eyes turned towards them at the sight of the drawn gun. Your stories are good to scare off kids at their mother's breasts. Savitoj replied in utmost fury. His cheeks were now flushing with anger. Fucking shabby, threadbare dog, I will kill you. Threatened Savitoj with his gun now touching the old man's wrinkled forehead. The old man let go of Savitoj. His handprints were visible in red on Savitoj's arm. Savitoj, still holding the gun upright, jerked his left hand to regulate the blood flow. He walked a couple of steps away from the old man, cursing him for his inappropriate action.
Yes, no one else will kill you. The others will die for sure. A death that was never destined but the one you will bring upon them. You are alive, now. You are alive, I can feel it. But everyone will die in front of you, and you will die in front of everyone.
The man resumed speaking. The threat of the handgun didn't make him quit talking.
You're quite alive, little Guy. He felt your nerve. This isn't fear. The real fear will strike you when the water in your eyeballs will freeze, when the blood in your veins will refuse to flow, when the floods pull you so deep inside themselves you won't be able to breathe, when the lights around you will make it impossible for you to see, when the world will spin around you so fast that you won't be able to make a move, when your bowels will turn so cold that they will climb up into your intestine. That's when you will realize how alone you are in this world.
Savitoj snugged back his handgun. He was still grunting in a low screeching voice. He desperately wanted to shoot the man right then. If not that, at least punch him in the chest with full force. But doing that in public would have surely endangered his reputation. Experiencing something similar months ago stopped him from getting into the spotlight. He began walking away.
If it was really a boar, then why didn't you see it?
The old man's words froze Savitoj in his tracks.
You are going to be roasted worse than the dead chicken whose butcher you are searching for. There is nothing that you and your sweet democracy can do. And regarding him, you will get him. You will get him forever, but you won't get her. Never.
The old man passed on a burst of heavy laughter.
Are you alright, sir?
Ryan interrupted as he came forward to calm the situation. Savitoj didn't reply. Instead, he turned around and started walking towards the old man. Quickly snatching the food bag, Savitoj opened it and threw all the food on the ground. I would better feed a dog than hand it to a motherfucker spitting all this bullshit to me. Bhenchode Kanjar, cursed Savitoj and walked towards the car. Ryan followed and stole a quick glance at the old man. The man was still laughing his head off in a cruel, vicious manner.
Tumiyana, apani erano.
The old man said and continued laughing.